Hey everybody, and good morning. I'm really excited, and also I'd like to say, appreciate you coming this time of the day for this particular webinar. This is a CEO's webinar, so everybody who is here this morning. I would like to say welcome. You are a CEO of some sort. Maybe you're leading a large organization, but most likely you're probably someone who's just started or is running a business from home. And I promise you, over the next hour or so, we're going to have an amazing time with my special guest, who I'm going to be introducing in a short moment. This webinar has been put together primarily for business people who are looking to take their business to the next level. If you're in a place right now where you're thinking, how can I up my game? How can I really attract more clients and make a greater impact and basically have my business have a greater reach? Then I'm excited to introduce the special guest who's going to be on here with us this morning. I don't believe there's anybody who's better qualified to share with us the information about how to take your business to the next level, how to redefine and reposition your business to make a greater impact and for you to be more fulfilled as you grow your business. Do me a favor, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. If you could just quickly just type in the chat box, just so that I can know that I am not talking to myself. If you just type in the chat box, just let me know that you can hear me. Just say yes, and I will know that you can hear me. We'll get into things in a short moment. Also, I'm going to create a very quick poll while we do that. So simple is, are you a yes, and very experienced. So just going to create a quick poll. And the purpose of this poll is so we can have a sense of who's in the room so that we can maximize the time that we spend with our amazing guests. So the whole idea here is just want to have a sense of your level of experience as a business owner. Starting or no, but looking to start. Great. So there we go. Start poll. Yeah. All right. So if you could just there's the poll there. It's to the right. If you could just type in there, are you a business owner? Are you yes or and very experienced? Yes, but just starting, or no, but looking to get started. Whichever one of them you think you can identify with. If you could just select that one and click vote, that would be absolutely brilliant. So, oh, thanks, Lorraine. How you doing? Hi, how are you? And thanks for responding. Now, I'll quickly tell us a little bit about my guest here tonight. Now, my guest here tonight is someone who I've known now for about a year or so, and I was introduced to her through a friend of mine. I mean, some of you who do know me know that. I mean, I've been running my businesses for a while, and so very few people, and this is the truth, and is when I meet people, when it comes to marketing and business growth, there are very few people. I mean, because I've invested a lot of time and energy in learning about marketing. There's a very small number of people who I can really draw value from when I spend time with them, especially when it comes to issues to do with marketing and growing a business. And our guest this morning is one of those people. I've had the privilege to have to sit down with her and talk. She's a marketing mentor. That's what she calls herself. Not just a coach, but a mentor. She says she defines herself as your cheerleader in chief, and I'm going to get her to explain what that means in a brief moment. And she's really passionate about helping and supporting primarily women in business. And she works with women that run their micro and small businesses from their kitchen tables. So she really works with women who build their businesses primarily from home. And she's a leader, and she's someone who understands marketing. I mean, I spend time with her. When I do, I just pick up almost every time I'm with her. I pick up one gem or another that I can apply in my business, and that can help me get growth and help me to increase the levels that my business is. So I'm really excited to introduce my special guest this morning, Yvette Ankrah. Yvette, how are you doing?
Hello, that was a wonderful introduction, DJ. Oh, Great.
And everything is 100% true. Very quick, Yvette, I'm really excited to have you here, and I do have a few questions for you. But what I've done is I've just conducted a very quick poll just to get a sense of where our listeners are right now, to make sure that your answers are tailored to the people who are in the room and they can get the best value. So I'm just going to go and end the poll right now, and then we'll check out the results. So let's do that quickly. So end the poll. And there we go. All right, good. So we have 67% of our attendees who are experienced business owners. So that's about 2/3, and 1/3 of them are business owners, but they're just getting started. So we're looking at a great majority are more experienced, and then a small minority have started a business, but they're still pretty green in the business space.
Okay.
All right, great. So let's talk about you a little bit. Yvette, now you run your own business, and you run your own business as you're a marketing mentor. You run your business from home. Now, I guess the first question is, what inspired or motivated you to take that step to start your own business?
Well, I've always kind of had a portfolio career. I've always been freelancing and had a day job, etc. And to be honest, what really pushed me was having my son. Motherhood is a catalyst for so many women. It makes you just look at life differently and make changes. And whilst I was on maternity leave, I was going to play groups, meeting various women, and a lot of them were talking to me about things they wanted to do. And I was already coaching and working with small businesses. And I thought, well, actually, I could really help these women. So I kind of took my skills and just changed my target market. And so, a lot of these women had ideas, had businesses they'd started or wanted to get things off the ground, but no support, no one to kind of give them any background, and very few had any experience in marketing. So I thought this is, a great market for me to kind of work in. And also, I am very passionate about women in business, and I campaign on that nationally and locally, and I really do kind of try to make sure as many women as possible who want to be in business can be in business.
Wow, that's a really interesting story. So it's almost like we say something like you stumbled and you literally fell into your calling. You'd taken time off to have your boy, and as you said, as you began to, so it really was, you had a strength, and you identified as dropping him off at school, just mingling with other mothers. A lot of mothers wanted to start a business, but like you said, they know what they're good at, but they didn't have a lot of experience in marketing. And because you had that marketing background, you just started to share that knowledge, that expertise, and that wisdom with them. And then, would you say you then realized this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been passionate about coaching and mentoring, and I have done it for quite a long time now. But I moved locations as well, and my whole outlook on life changed. I moved from London out to Essex. It was completely different, and this group is who I really want to work with and see thrive. And I love seeing people just thrive and develop, and even when it goes from baby steps to launching something, or where they've already established and they just get their confidence back. That's something that I love seeing happen.
Okay. Now, one of the things I do know, I mean, having worked with quite a number of business people, is a lot of people go into business, but very few people do well in business. Now, that's one thing that I'm sure you're aware of as well. I mean, the failure rates in business are really so huge, it can be quite scary.
Yeah.
However, so I guess the question is, what is it what are the ingredients of a successful business? What makes a business? What's the reason why some businesses do well while most don't? What is the difference maker?
Well, with that, I mean, the foundation of any business is your vision. It's not just your vision for your business as well, it's your vision for your whole life. What is it you want? What's it you want to achieve? What do you want to get out of every day? And with the vision is your passion. But underlying all of that has to be a plan and a strategy. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So knowing clearly who your markets are, your target groups, actually putting in the background work, knowing your numbers, knowing whether this is actually viable, that kind of core underlying with the vision and the passion is what will help you move forward. I mean, most businesses fail within the first 5 years. It is not an easy thing to do. if you're not really willing to put the hard work in and wear all the different hats that you have to as a business owner, it is not the game for you.
Okay, now you mentioned a few things there, and I'll ask a few questions. Now, you talked about the different hats you wear as a business owner, which sometimes can be overwhelming. You know, a person starts a business because they're interested, because they're good at one thing. For example, someone who maybe is likes baking cakes, and they just love baking cakes, and they start a business because they love baking cakes. And now all of a sudden, you know, they have to wear all these different hats, and some of these hats they don't want to wear. I mean, if someone is listening to this webinar right now, is thinking, you know what, DJ, you're describing me. What advice would you give to this person?
As far as possible, outsource. Get support, get help. And outsourcing doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cost you lots of money. You can skill swap. You might know somebody else who loves doing bookkeeping, and you know they need a regular supply of cakes for their family members, and you can pay them in cake. You know, a lot of people skill swap. You find ways of mutually supporting each other, especially when you're starting out, and especially when you haven't got lots of funds. If you do have any income at all, you know, look to outsource, but it doesn't have to, again, be expensive. There's lots of freelancers out there, lots of low-cost solutions that can support you both in the UK and abroad, that can help you with the back end of your business. You need to have an understanding of how these things work, because obviously you need to be able to tell these people what you need them to do, but you don't have to be an expert at them. Be expert at what you're expert about, and build yourself a team around you that can support you.
Wow. I guess that's really valuable advice. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, they don't think about building a team because they think, my business is too small for me to start building a team. But you shared some really useful advice there about being creative, and so you can barter, you can exchange your expertise for someone else's expertise, and be creative in trying to do that. So I'm sure that's very useful. Thanks a lot for sharing that. I mean, I must say, even for me, that's useful advice, because you and I have had that conversation, and that's one thing I'm looking to do in my business right now. Now, so now people set goals. Now, first of all, I mean, there is the one big issue is a lot of people don't set goals. But now there are people who do set goals, and it's almost like every year it's the same goals, and they set the goals this year, and the end of the year they don't happen, and they set the same goals again next year, and it just keeps, for some people it can happen for 5 years consistently, but they never hit those goals. I mean, why do you think people, especially business people, set goals and they don't achieve these goals? Why does that happen?
One of the things people do, they don't realize it, but they're setting themselves up to fail because they're setting goals that are not necessarily achieved. So if you don't have the skills, the time, or the resources, you're not going to attain that goal. So you need to be realistic. So the whole SMART acronym, so specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Some people say, we're not looking at SMART anymore, we're looking at other kind of goals, but I still think it's a good foundation for goal setting, because there is absolutely no point in saying, yeah, we want to be number one, but how, when, what you're going to do to make it happen, what's behind it. If you don't have the resources now, how will you get those resources to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve? So it's kind of the phrase of, how do you eat an elephant in small bites? You don't start with the elephant, you start with a small bite. So you break it down and make it easier for you. And also you set yourself deadlines. And I think also sharing your goals, writing them down is important, and sharing them. So this is why, a mentor is always good, because you've got somebody that makes you accountable for your behavior.
Thanks a lot for sharing that. Now, first of all, I'm a very big fan of SMART goals, and I know there's all sorts of different models out there, and people are trying to position themselves, but reality is SMART is just so smart, Yeah. And I do like what you said about getting a mentor. Now, this is one thing that, unfortunately, most people don't see the value of mentorship or even coaching. They kind of, people just, because it's that intangible, you can't handle it. A lot of people don't really value mentorship or coaching, whether it's an accountability coach or whether, I mean, Can you expand a little more on the value of a coach, or even, even more so, a mentor, especially for business people?
Okay. Well, you mentioned I call myself a cheerleader, and that's what I am, because part of my role is to be there to support that person, be in their corner, keep them motivated, keep them energized as they go forward with their business. But the other side is also to make them accountable, to say, okay, we're working towards this. What's happened so far? How far have you progressed with this particular area? And the other side of a mentor's role is also to give them a different view, because when you're in your business, it's, especially if it's your own and and you build it from scratch, it's so personal to you, and sometimes you can't see things. So that's third kind of eye, almost looking over your business, and to give them, with mentoring and coaching, there's a big overlap, but with mentoring, the reason I say marketing mentor, because it's not just, the coaching kind of mechanisms, asking questions, probing. With mentoring, it's okay, this is how you can do this. This is the networks that you can use. These are things I recommend. These are people I think you should get in touch with. You can't really do that under the coaching banner, but under mentoring, it is supporting that person and actually teaching them and training them and giving them skills.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for sharing that, especially as you distinguish between a coach and a mentor. I think that will be useful, because I know there isn't a lot of clarity out there in the marketplace, distinguishing between a coach and a mentor. I think that was really, really quite succinct and very clear. Thanks for sharing that. Now, so you talked about people not setting smart goals, or people not being realistic, and so they don't set themselves up for success. They're not very clear with their goals, and because there isn't clarity, they just seem to get lost somewhere along the way. So, but apart from that, what else stops people from actually making things happen in their business? If there's, what are because you've worked with business people, you spend a lot of time working with them. You've talked about people not having very clear, smart goals, not being realistic with their goals. But beyond that, what else holds people back from actually actualizing their vision and making things happen in their business like they want to, or like they hope to?
There are quite a few blocks, and one for me that is the biggest block that you come across is fear. And it's a word that, as soon as people see it written down, they even recoil from the word. But, it's fear is false evidence appearing real. You think that something awful will happen if you take a step. If, you make this happen, what will people say? What will people think about me? And your internal voice starts the dialogue of all the negativity, of all the things that can go wrong. Usually, what's the worst that can happen? You may lose some money, you may lose a lot of money, not great, but you'll still be here, you'll try something else. And fear sometimes stops people actually moving forward at all. But even if you make a mistake, learn from it. That's the important thing. Take the learning from that and move on. And a lot of things to do with fear are, everything from how we were raised, things that people have told us when we were little. People can say to you, you're no good at X, and you have that in your head the entire time. And actually, you probably are, but because you're in your head, you've always said, I'm no good at it. You sort of almost, your body believes that is the way forward. So fear is an absolutely huge one. And sometimes you do things and you're scared, but you take that step out of your comfort zone, and you realise actually it wasn't that bad after all. And that to me is the biggest. Another one that people have is procrastination. It is a big one. You want to do something, you say, actually, I'm just going to check Facebook, or just going to go on Twitter. 3 hours later, you're still there, and you haven't done what you needed to do. And sometimes that's because the task is just boring, and you haven't found a way of making it fun. You don't want to do it, you're dragging your feet. And for me, it's anything to do with accounts and bookkeeping. I can put that off to the cows come home. So instead of me procrastinating about it, I got myself a bookkeeper. It makes life so much easier. I don't have to think about it anymore. But there's reasons why you're procrastinating, but you need to think about what it is that's stopping you doing that task. But, Twitter, Facebook, social media, they're the biggest procrastinators. We need them in modern business, but they do give us the excuse. Another one for me is perfectionism.
Mm.
Um, while you're spending all of that time getting it right, you're actually spending no time doing what you need to do. And you sometimes just have to let things go. I'm not saying that you should let it all out with typos and mistakes, but there comes a point where you just have to stop.
Yeah, yeah. Well, these are really three powerful things. I mean, we could really dwell a lot on these things. First of all, you talked about fear,
Mm-hmm.
and fear is a really big one. I see that a lot. Sometimes even with me, and I realize actually that I'm sometimes you're afraid of losing, you're afraid of making a mistake, you're afraid of getting it wrong, you're afraid of actually of sometimes of actually making it happen. I mean, I remember the very first time I got a client who was going to spend a day with me, and she was going to pay me £500, and I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, "Oh my!" Now understand, I at the time I had never done any sort of consultancy or out of working for my employer, and to have someone who was going to spend £500, which was a lot of money for me at the time, to spend a day with me, I was scared. I mean, I got home and I said, "Oh my goodness!" I told my wife, I said, "Sweetheart, I'm in trouble. Right? This person has actually paid me £500 to help her with her business." I said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "She's going to think I'm a fraud," and I really panicked.
Yeah.
Now, and sometimes that could hold people back. I mean, if not because she offered to pay me that money, I would never, at the time, have asked for that kind of money for what I was doing. I would have been too scared
Yeah.
to price myself at that level. Okay, so now the question is, let's talk about this fear thing, because it's a big one for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So something as simple as investing in I mean, I've invested thousands of pounds in training programs. And I remember the very first time I was going to spend $3,000 on a home study program, I was scared to put it on the card. Now I was really, I kept sitting there thinking $3,000, $3,000, $3,000. What if it doesn't work? What if? And even though there was a money back guarantee, I was still scared. I finally took the step. I went against the fear anyways, and I learned so much from that program, which has really helped me now. If I hadn't taken that step because I was afraid, I probably could have lost out significantly. So I guess my question is, how do we handle fear? Yes, fear can hold us back. How do we handle it? How do we handle it as business people?
Well, I just wanted to pick up on something you said there about being a fraud. The imposter syndrome, as it's called, a lot of people think they're going to be seen as imposters. And you also talked about being valued and thinking I'm not worth that amount. A lot of those issues with fear is because you have an internal dialogue, which every once in a while will pop up. A little voice will say something that's negative, and that's what you're going to have to learn to switch off or dampen down. It's that voice that says I'm not good enough. It's that voice that says I can't do this. It's the negatives. And one of the ways that I use to combat this is mantras and positive affirmations. And I use that technique. And it's something that actual psychologists use when people have a lot of anxiety or issues, because it is very powerful to change your internal dialogue. The other thing is, it's really kind of examining what you're afraid of. It's really getting to the bottom of what you're afraid of, and actually sitting and thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to write this all down, and then getting it out, going away from it and coming back to it. You think, okay, actually, what can I do to mitigate these things? These are the fears, these are the issues I have. This particular issue here, actually, it's not insurmountable. If I got some support or help, I could do that. Or I want to do this course. I don't really want to spend this money because I'm terrified of what happens if I put £3,000 on my credit card. It's okay, well, what's the value of you doing the course, completing it, investing in it, and what do you get at the end of it? So it's looking at it from that kind of standpoint. And just, it's difficult when you're in the moment, so it's kind of take yourself out of that space and look back on it reflectively, because fear is a big one.
Now, thanks for sharing that. And something you said, which was a key thing that earlier on, you said, "After, what's the worst that could happen?" And which is exactly what I did, because I thought to myself, well, what's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is the program doesn't work for me. I'll have to send it back, and it might cost me about £30 to send it back. So, and I felt, okay, so really, the worst that could happen is I'll lose 30 quid.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I put it in perspective, and
Yeah.
so sometimes we're afraid of. So I mean, like the first example, what's the worst that could happen is she would say she didn't get value, and I'll give her her money back, which means I'd lost the day. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know, so if we just ask ourselves that question, like you said, I think what you said there was really very powerful, which is, what's the worst that could happen anyway? Evaluate the true risk,
Mm-hmm.
and then what's the best that could happen if it goes well, and then and I think that's some really useful information you shared there. Thanks a lot. So, okay, now let's talk about marketing our businesses, because that's your area of expertise.
Yeah.
So, people are listening right now. What key things should people know about marketing their businesses?
Well, the biggest thing with marketing is, at the heart of everything you do must be your customer. That has to be the kind of given, the standard. You know, when you're looking at marketing, you're looking at your product, your pricing, what you're going to do, your distribution, all those kind of things. In the center is the customer. A lot of people think marketing is putting stuff on Facebook and sending out a few leaflets. No. It's thinking about every single aspect of your business, every single bit of it, the customer experience, from when they get an email from you, from when you answer the phone. What does that customer feel, engage? How are they treated? And that's whether it's just you on your own, or even if you've got an assistant. How is that translated to the customer? What's the experience from the very first contact with you through right to the end? You know, everything you do is going to be with that customer in mind. And if you think about that and never know anything else, that will really help you focus your marketing.
I think that again, you know, you just keep hitting these points, and it's really invaluable information. And I hope that the attendees appreciate what you're sharing here, because the key thing about marketing is, it's not about the money you're going to be making; it's about the customer. I think that alone is just useful. Is everything is, like I said, everything should be centered around your customer. That, I mean, tell us a little bit about this whole customer experience. You talked about whether it's you or whether it's your employee, making sure that the customer has a pleasant experience from the very beginning all the way through. Can you just expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, if you think about touch points, for example, you walk into a store. Yeah, you walk into a store. Are you greeted? As you're shopping around, does somebody actually engage you, ask you if you need some support or help? If you have a question, is there someone that answers it? When you get to the till, do they know? Are they knowledgeable? If there's a mistake, does somebody correct it quickly? All of those kind of things. I use a store as an example, because so many of us has probably had that experience, positive and negative, of good customer service, bad customer service. And that's the same with whether you're coaching, whether you're offering a different kind of service or providing a tangible product. It's, you know, a tangible product. You send it to me in the post. I think it's a high-level item. I spent a lot of money, and it comes in really rubbish packaging. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is not what I'm expecting. I spent several £100s on this, and it's coming in flimsy plastic. You know, if you're saying it's high-end, make it high-end. Manage the expectations of the customer. If you are delivering a service, if you are coaching, if you are working with people, let them know what to expect. Let them know what they're going to get. Keep in touch with them, communicate, inform them, so they know every step of the way what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and what they should get at the end of your experience. I spent a lot of years doing events, and I still do that on occasion, freelance for people. And my question always is, how do you want people to feel when they walk out of this event?
How do you want people to feel? Wow.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing when they deal with you in any way. How do you want them to feel? How do you want them to talk about you when you're not in the room? How do you want them to engage? How do you want them to promote you? Because they're your advocates. You know, business, the best way that business spreads is word of mouth. You can do as many internet things as you like, but if people like what you do, tell people that they like what you do, engage with other people, that is the best endorsement you can have. So by making sure your customers are at the heart of what you do, their needs are met, they're happy, and you're providing the best service you can to them, because you do, whatever it is, you're providing a service, you're meeting a need. As long as you're doing that and adding value to their lives, that is the best thing you can give them.
Okay. So that whole journey, I like what you said. How do you want the attendees to feel having attended this event? I think those are just really powerful questions. So it's all about the experience from the very get-go, from the exposure to your promotions to experiencing your product, and even the after service. That whole, how do they feel about that whole experience? Someone said something that stayed with me a while now, that a customer would always remember a bad experience. They expect a good experience, but they don't usually remember that, but they would remember a brilliant experience. And I think that aligns with what you're saying here is, make sure it's not a bad experience, but actually make sure throughout that process of engagement with them, they keep on getting a brilliant experience.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. All right, great. Now, I know you do a lot of work working with entrepreneurs, business people, especially helping them get away from, especially people who are stuck, and helping get them out of the rut, and helping helping them move their businesses forward. And you've created this program, which I've had the privilege to explore, called the Kitchen Table CEO Business Boost course.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about this course? First of all, the title. Tell us a little bit about this title, the Kitchen Table CEO Business Boost course. Why that title?
Well, I believe in kitchen table CEOs. So the idea is people that run their businesses, as I say, from their kitchen tables. I do that sometimes. I also have a home office, but it's about people that run micro business from home. And you are a CEO. You are the chief executive officer of your business. And see it like that. See it as you're building an empire. Not, just because you're working from home doesn't mean you're not building an empire. And that's the strap line of it as well. 5 steps to build your empire. And it is a business boost because it's got 4 modules and 5 steps. So the 4 modules, it covers vision, goal setting, blocks, and marketing. And it is about the boost for your business, because whether you're starting out or you have been in business for a long time, sometimes you forget why you were doing what you're doing. The original plan, as you said, you started making cakes, and now all of a sudden you're making hundreds of cakes. You haven't thought about where the business is going to go, or what you want from it, or even what you want from your own life. So I take it from the very beginning, looking at your vision. So your vision for what you want and what your business wants. You may find that your business is just one part of this overall vision. It's just a small vehicle to get you to what you want. So you may be working full-time now. You say, actually, I want to work 3 days a week, and I want to spend some time abroad. I want to do all these things. So you start building that into your life plan. But if you haven't even thought about what you really want, and you're just carrying on the day-to-day, you're just going to be muddling on another year, another year, another year, and then what are you going to do, retire? So you need to think about your plans, your desires, what's in your heart, what you really want. And I'm quite heart-centered in that way. I don't just think about me. I think about my family. I think about who I can help, who I can support, how I can give back to the world as well. That's part of what I do. So that's one side. The next side is looking at goals and setting goals. So I help within the course people to set achievable goals, and also give you a plan for 12 months, but also a very detailed 1-month plan, so that you can actually make sure you're implementing on a regular basis. There's no point saying, I want all these things, without having to break it down and step by step work out how you're going to get there. And every day you make a step towards your goals. And that's quite important. I always think in 3s. So I always say 3 things you want to do. So I don't do to-do lists, for example. So it's 3 things I want to achieve by the end of the day. 3 goals that I want to achieve in the next month. 3's easy. When you've got 20, you feel demoralized because you're looking at them and you're saying, you know what, I haven't done anything. I'm not going to achieve it. And then they roll on, they roll on, they roll on.
Yeah.
By breaking it down, making it smaller, it's actually, I've done this, done that. Oh, I have time to even do this bit. And you close your day thinking, I've done something, I've achieved, I've made a step. Whether it's making a phone call, sending an email, attending an event, whatever it is, you've made that step on that day. So I look at the goals. The next thing, again, I talk about the blocks. The blocks we were talking about: fear, perfectionism, procrastination. And a really big issue for business people is overwhelm. I can't stress this enough. When you work for yourself, it's all about you. And you can take on far too much when you're wearing these hats, when you're starting out, you're trying to do everything yourself. But also, you're juggling. I juggle my business around my 3-year-old. I juggle it also around other things I do. And that means sometimes you have a lot of balls in the air and no idea how you're going to catch them all. I also have a health condition which I have to manage alongside my workload. So it's, how do you stop getting yourself so overwhelmed? How do you recognize it? How do you engage with it and work with it and move on for it and look after? I call it Team You, because it's mostly you. So you're a team of one. You've got to say, yay, I'm going to support myself, I'm going to look after myself. And I talk about that because sometimes when you're in that space, you can't get out of it and it paralyzes you and stops you moving forward. So there's a big bit on overwhelm within that. And the last bit is all about marketing. And it's literally an introduction to marketing. It teaches you about online marketing, offline briefly. It tells you how to review your marketing and how to plan and actually create a strategy within that. So there's lots of tools, tips, and templates all the way through the whole thing to make it doable for you, plus slides and audio and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I've had access to the program and I've had a look at the content, and this is a lot that you're sharing here in this program. I like the fact that it's almost like you're, just in case a person started their business and they didn't get the foundations right, so things like vision and goal setting. Now, I'll say something about goal setting. I mean, having worked with entrepreneurs and also worked with people even in the corporate world, in both worlds, I've come to realize that everybody talks about goal setting, very few people do it. I don't know if that's been the same in your experience.
Yeah, they have an idea of what they want to do, but it's not. It's the planning that's missing out.
Yeah.
And it's, you need to plan and implement.
Yeah.
It's the implementation. And you said about how people never reach those goals. It's the implementation. It's how they go about actually doing it. Yeah. It's like the usual, I'm going to go to the gym on the 1st of January. By the 31st of January, you've not set foot in there. It's, rather than, I really want to be energized and I want to feel good about myself, and I'll commit, at least 2 days a week to do that. Just changing how you think about it and how you talk about the goal and how you write the goal makes it possible. Yeah.
So I mean, so having a whole module around goal setting, I think is really it's useful. I think that's the truth. I'll just use the very simple word. It is hugely useful. Now, I say something that in business, there's lots of elements that come to play which are important in business, but two core elements are product innovation and marketing. And you've devoted a whole module to marketing. Now, this is a lot of useful information you're sharing here. This is invaluable information. And we have people who are here tonight. I know you're just launching this program. I'm excited for you. So I know, and I also know that you have a very special offer for people who take advantage of this special launch. So just go ahead and tell us what this offer is and how we can take advantage of it here.
Well, I can click a button apparently and things will happen, I do believe. Right, so the course is listed at £197, but you can get it for £97. And you have unlimited lifetime access to it. You also have a Facebook group, so you can pop in and say hi to me and ask me questions and link with other people who are doing the course. And yeah, I've done that because I really want as many people as possible to be able to access this information. Not everybody can work with me one-to-one, and this is a way of doing this. This course was based on workshops I ran and also the one-to-one work I do with clients. So it's come from that. So there's a lot of information there. I mean, it is, you know, I did a sort of year-long marketing course and I've sort of crammed it down, but it's a lot of it's in there, and I think it would be really useful for business owners, because every time you're doing something new, you can come back and use it and use it to reflect upon.
Wow. Okay, so if you're here right now, you should see the pop-up link where it says get £100 off the course today, and there's a special code that you can type in. So what you do is click on the link which says sign up today, and that will take you to the registration page. Just scroll down to the bottom, type in that coupon code. I'll just say A9EDABF2, and then you'll get a £100 discount, and you can get it for £97 today. So go ahead and most definitely take advantage of that. Did you say it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee?
It does. If you feel after 30 days it's not giving you any value, you send me an email, I refund your money.
So that whole thing about what's the best that can happen, what's the worst that can happen. The best that can happen is you take advantage of this program, and by the end of this year, your business could have exploded because of what you have learned from this program. That's the best that can happen. The worst that can happen is you take advantage of the program, you realize it's not as good as you thought it was going to be, and you get your money back. And you don't even lose anything because there's no shipping and no postage. It's all online, which is absolutely brilliant. So I guess there's really no, it's what we call a no-brainer. Okay, so I'll encourage you to take advantage of this. Just click the sign up today link. Go ahead and take advantage of the discount and get this program. I recommend it. I recommend it 100%. I'd like to congratulate you, Yvette, on launching this program. I believe it's going to help so many people change their businesses, and I'm glad that I've had the privilege of actually interviewing you here at the very first time you're introducing your program to the general public. And I am looking forward to all the testimonials and success stories we're going to be hearing. I'm going to do something. I didn't plan to do this, but I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to do this. This is my gift to everybody who takes advantage of this program today. If you get this course today, and there's no reason why you shouldn't, I'm going to throw something in. I did a training, a closed training, about 18 months ago, where it's literally, if it's a specific step-by-step, if a person is running a business and they are stuck and they're at a point where things are just not moving forward, I did this training where it's a 90-day program, which is how to turn your business around in 90 days. It's pretty practical stuff. It's an audio training that I did a couple years ago for a closed group, and I'm going to give this training. And the thing is, I've had so many people who've taken that training from different. I've had someone who's a singer use it. I've had a driving instructor use it. I've had someone who sells, who creates her own skincare products use it. I've had someone who is I've had lots of coaches use it, and they've used it and they've seen a big turnaround in 90 days. Now, I'm going to throw this in as my gift to everybody who takes. So what you do, basically, this is the way it works, Yvette. Just let me know who gets it. Send me their email addresses, and I will give them access to this audio.
Cool.
That's my special gift. So, yes. So go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, well, ladies, and I think there are a few gentlemen as well. Take advantage of this program. Go ahead and get it. It's £197, which is amazing, but you get it at £100 off this morning. So go ahead and do that, and tuck into it straight away. As soon as you, I think it takes you to PayPal, right?
Yes, and then as soon as that's gone through, you get access to everything immediately. You'll also get a password sent to you so you can log in whenever you want. It says you've got lifetime access. You'll also get a series of emails because I want to keep you motivated as you go along. And I will be in the Facebook group to answer questions. And I might surprise people with the odd webinar and extra bits and pieces along the way as well. So, you get quite a lot of value.
Great stuff, great stuff. So, thanks Yvette for coming in and for being a part of this event. And thanks everyone for attending, and for those who've taken advantage, I'd like to say congratulations. Like I said, I've known Yvette for a while. Claire said something, says, "Hello Yvette, I've attended Mums in Business. I really like the ideas you have." And Claire, I do second that. I think her creative ideas, her business ideas are really amazing. And thanks everybody. Oh gosh, there's lots of, I didn't even notice this. There's a fair bit coming through. People saying thank you for the value and all that. So thanks everyone for commenting. So yes, so thanks everyone for being a part of this webinar. I hope you got great value. And thanks Yvette for taking time out to come and do this with us. And for those who've taken advantage of the program, I'd like to say congratulations, and I look forward to celebrating your success stories. Enjoy the rest of your day. But I don't know if you want to say anything before.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again to you, DJ, for inviting me on today and talking to me, letting me talk about what I'm passionate about. That's a great way for me to spend the morning, to be able to talk about what I'm passionate about. So thank you for everyone for giving up their morning and spending it with us.
Thank you very much, everybody, and hopefully we'll do one of these again very soon. Be on the lookout.
Brilliant. Okay. Thanks again. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye now.